operations about line size. Brad Shamla has been with Enbridge for more than 2 decades, working in operations, engineering, business development, and administration across Canada and the U.S. He is currently Vice President, U.S. Operations, where he's responsible for the U.S. liquid pipelines operations and gathering systems. Since he started with Enbridge in 1991, Brad has taken on roles of increasing responsibility within the organization, including leadership positions in business development, Canadian operations, the control center, gathering systems, U.S. engineering, and U.S. operations group. In his most recent role as Vice President Market Development, Brad was responsible for leading the business development activities related to the Enbridge Main Line, new market access, contract terminals, and strategic acquisitions and divestitures for liquid pipelines. Prior to joining the Business Development Group in 2008, Brad served as General Manager in the Liquid Pipelines Operation Group, overseeing mainline operations in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, as well as the company's first wind farm near Gull Lake, Saskatchewan.
Thank you, Jennifer and Renetta and all of the tip of the Mitt representatives here tonight. We really do appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and to all of you who have come out tonight to listen and participate in tonight's event. We really do think there is great value in getting out and having these kinds of discussions, and to hear exactly what it is that the pipeline is and what it's not, some of the regulations, and some of the concerns that you all have, and how we're going to address those concerns. Because I think at the end of the day, operational reliability and safety is important to everybody in this room, and it's certainly a cornerstone for us as we conduct our business on our system. So I wanted to start by just giving a brief overview of Enbridge and our overall system. We do operate the world's longest pipeline system in Canada and the U.S. The system you see across the map on the page. It's about 50,000 miles of pipelines in collective between our gathering systems, main lines, and others across North America. Movements through our system account for about 15% of all total U.S. petroleum imports through the Enbridge system. We deliver about 2.5 million barrels per day of crude oil and liquids petroleum through our system. And just as a point of reference, that accounts for about 50%, and actually more than 50% of the crude that is provided to the Great Lakes refineries in Chicago, Detroit, and Superior, Wisconsin. We also are a player in the gas pipeline gathering and processing system. We own about 1,000 miles of offshore pipe and onshore gathering pipe as well, but about 1,000 miles of offshore pipe in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico. And we gather and move about half or 50% of the offshore gas production in the Gulf. On the Canadian side of the system, in eastern Canada, we own and operate the largest natural gas distribution system in the Toronto and Ontario areas. We also, as an energy company, have an emerging green energy platform. We currently have ownership interest in about 1,800 megawatts of wind, solar, geothermal, and heat waste recovery through our system, for a total capital investment of about $3.5 billion in green energy technologies. On the growth side, we've got a number of growth projects underway. I won't get into detail on those today, but they total about $35 million in committed growth and expansion projects. We've made a commitment to a neutral footprint in our development, and it really stems from our former CEO and it's something that we've really committed to, and that's basically we want to produce a kilowatt of power for every kilowatt of power we consume on the pipeline right away. We want to provide an acre of land for any acre that we use in our projects, and we also want to plant a tree for every tree that we have to remove as part of our operation. And that neutral footprint, I don't have a scorecard to go over tonight, but it is something that we are committed to. And then finally, we're an employer, and we employ currently about 11,000 employees and contractors across our system. That's up from about 6,500 just a few years ago in 2011. So some significant growth happening, but also some significant areas of focus that we're going to talk about here tonight. And 250 of those employees and contractors are here in Michigan. Looking at liquids pipelines in Michigan, I know tonight we're really going to focus on the northern pipelines. In total, we have 4 pipelines in Michigan totaling about 930 miles of pipe. And that represents a pipeline that we're here to talk about tonight across the northern system, Line 5. We also have pipe that traverses down in our 6B pipe in southern Michigan, along with 2 pipes that feed markets in Detroit and Toledo, that being Line 17 and Line 79. Looking more specifically at the northern pipeline in Michigan, Line 5. Line 5 is a 645-mile pipeline. It's a 30-inch pipeline, with the exception of the Straits of Mackinac crossing, which consists of 2 heavy wall seamless pipes under the straits, and then it's back into 30-inch pipe for the remainder of the weight. Its capacity is about 540,000 barrels per day, and it's a light crude system, which consists, the movements through Line 5 would consist of natural gas liquids batched with various light products, including light crude oil and condensate. As I mentioned at the start, safety is really the cornerstone of our business. We recognize we have to operate a safe and reliable system. It's critically important to us, and it's something that is a part of every day, certainly of my life and my role. There isn't a day that goes by that we don't talk about safety, and on a percentage basis for in some cases, the better part of the day is spent on safety and operational reliability, and it's that important. Since 2012, over the past couple of years, we've spent $4.4 billion in the area of reliability and safety. And I'm going to get in and talk about some of those programs as I go through here. We focus on going beyond just being okay. We really want to be industry leaders. And I think that we have involvement in a lot of different things, and when you talk about some of the programs that I show tonight, we get involved with the development of the technology and really push to advance the technology. And during the last 10 years, we've delivered approximately 13 billion barrels of crude oil and liquids. And I can go into the safety record, which overall on the barrels is very good. I want to say that our goal and our target is zero. Zero pipeline incidents, and I think that's something that we want to achieve, and that's our focus. When you look at safely transporting crude oil, there were a number of different modes of transportation shown on the previous presentation, rail, truck, others. I think when you look at it from a pipeline perspective, there really are a number of components that contribute to safe operation. That being engineering design and the materials you start out with, whether it be the steel, the coating, the cathodic protection, those types of things. The ongoing integrity management, once the pipe is in the ground and the facilities are in the ground, how do you take care of it? How do you monitor it? Control center operations, ensuring that we're monitoring on a 24/7 basis, pressures in the system, looking for anomalies and upsets. We do routine aerial patrols over every foot of our pipelines on a bi-weekly basis. And so we have a lot of aircraft in the air. Some of you may see them and doing their thing, but we would be, looking at right away, looking for any problems that can be seen from the air, any third-party activities going on, whether it be excavations and things, to really keep an eye on that. And then finally, really looking at emergency response in the event that there is a problem. How do we respond? Are we trained and qualified? And it's an important part of what we do is making sure that we have the training, we have the plan in place, and we are conducting live drills. And when you look at our operations in Michigan, we do have response plans, tactical response plans, which lay out where the boom would go along shorelines, where it would go, where your access points would be, and all those things mapped out in a tactical response plan for not only the Straits, but for other significant water crossings. When you look specifically at the Straits of Mackinac crossing, it really starts with the design of the system. Back when the pipeline was constructed in 1953, it was an extensive engineering project. It was one that took a lot of attention and focus. It was done by probably the leading energy or engineering company in North America at the time, Bechtel Corporation. And it included peer reviews by the University of Michigan Department of Naval Studies and another university to really make sure that we were getting the design right. And I think, as we sit here today and look at the current state of the pipe, we look back to that design as being, vitally important to that system. Safety in the Straits involves inspections, and I'm going to talk more about that later, so I won't go into a lot of details, but both inside the pipe, understanding what's going on, and also outside the pipe, understanding what's going on with the environment. It involves automatic shutoff valves across the Straits. In the event that there's a pressure drop, our control center operators would be monitoring that. In the event that that pressure drops, those valves are shutting immediately with this sequencing of pipeline shutdown as an important safety feature. We have remotely operated valves, which our control center operators can operate. New leak detection equipment and technology, really wanting to push the envelope on how small a leak we can detect in the operating pipeline system, what new technologies exist out there. And there are a number of them, and we've got a department which is their day job is to focus on making sure we've got the latest technology. We've got electric backup generation at the Straits crossings to make sure that we can shut the valves even in the event of a power outage. And we've come up with and always looking to improve from a secondary containment perspective of identifying areas where we can put in secondary containment, which will keep a leak from a facility or a pipeline from migrating. And that's something we're in the process of implementing at the Straits crossing. So some very comprehensive programs at the Straits. When you look at the design and the engineering that went into the crossings and the philosophy that went into putting in two 20-inch pipes versus one large pipe, and I'll note that the pipe that was chosen was a heavy wall, near an inch thick pipe that was seamless construction in the manufacture. To really focus on reducing the potential of a problem in that very, very sensitive area. A problem in that area isn't good for anyone, and certainly it's something we're very focused on preventing. Here is just a depiction of our pressure across the Straits. The pipe, as I said, is about an inch thick, 20-inch diameter, seamless pipe, tested to 1,700 pounds. It was tested again as part of the installation, post-installation. So we defined the upper limit of the testing at 1,700 psi. We've established a maximum operating pressure of 600 psi. So we said we're not going to go over 600. And the pressures you see in that pipe today across the Straits are generally under 200 psi. So operating, some very substantial pipe in a very, very low pressure system. And that operating range would range anywhere from 0 to 300, but on a daily basis, if you were watching those pressures, generally sub 200. I mentioned early on that we spent $4.4 billion over the past couple of years, and one of the big areas is just in our integrity and operational reliability programs, really taking a look at all of our pipelines in our system, doing extensive, literally hundreds of inspection runs through the pipes, identifying any anomalies that are detected, going out and doing literally thousands of digs like the one you see on the map here, where we dig it up, we map anything you can see on the outside of the pipe. We do UT analysis to see any metal loss on the inside of the pipe, and do a comprehensive job of evaluating that. And if needed, we would apply a sleeve that would be welded to repair the pipe. And we do that across our entire pipeline system. There's been a lot of talk about our incident in Marshall, Michigan, which was certainly one of the low days in our organization, and it's one where we've done a lot since then. It's been near 4 years now. We've invested a lot, and some of the things I wanted to specify exactly some of the things we've been working on since Marshall. Our pipeline and facility integrity, the previous slide I showed, really literally hundreds of tool runs done in the various pipeline segments, which drove out thousands of integrity digs, and really a comprehensive plan to look at all those, and what the renewal will be on doing more of that inspection is key to our efforts from an integrity management perspective. Leak detection, we have a department today that's dedicated, their day job is to make sure the leak detection that we have, which can include a mass balance where we are measuring what's going in, what's coming out, and the difference, to things like smart ball technology, which puts a small a ball through the line, a couple of them, and detects acoustical sounds, to other emerging technologies. Pipeline and control center operations, this is one area for us that we've seen tremendous change, including a new facility. We are operating today out of a new facility. We have new procedures for our control center operators and how they operate the lines. We have new personnel, and our control center operation is now its own department. It has its own lead. It is fully accountable for the job that they do. And we have new personnel in the form of operators and enhanced oversight and training within the control room. So big changes in that area. Public awareness, certainly looked at increased focus on our public awareness, making sure people know where our pipelines are, what commodities they transport, what to do in the event of if they detect anything, and that leads into emergency response. And really, we've created an Enbridge-wide emergency response team, pulling members from any department within the company, making sure they're trained to ICS standards, 100, 200, 300 level ICS training to make sure our team is ready. And then exercises, making sure we're getting out. We've got a big exercise coming up in Indian River in September, which is going to be a large effort. It's going to include Coast Guard, EPA, and others to make sure that we're looking at and exercising a plan. And it included a $50 million investment over the last 2 years in our emergency response equipment, just upgrading and making sure we had the right skimmers, booms in the right location, those types of things. And then finally, we undertook a safety culture review to look at the culture within our organization and were we looking at safety right. And we brought in a third-party expert in the area of safety, and a company that's well respected in the industry. We had them do a survey. We had them go out and talk to our field people. We had them talk to our supervision. We had them talk to our leadership teams. And we really drove out what is the safety culture at Enbridge. and what do we want it to be? And we're in the midst of going through that, and it's something that's very important to us. So I'm not sure if I'm doing on time here, but I suspect I'm probably going long. A few other key points I wanted to touch on. Internal inspections. We run internal inspections, and I would say multiple technologies. And on the metal loss, the MFL tools, and making sure we're looking for any corrosion inside or out. We're running the new and latest crack detection tools through the pipeline systems, which uses basically medical quality ultrasound on the pipe walls to make sure we're understanding and identifying any cracks. We also have tools to identify any dents, buckles, gouges along the pipelines, so that we can go in after the fact and identify those. And that's an emerging area which we've invested millions in to make sure that we're pushing the envelope in terms of what can be detected from inside the pipe. And specific to the Straits of Mackinac, we're also conducting external inspections of the pipe on a biannual basis. So every 2 years we're doing a full inspection of the crossings. We've developed and are in the process of both remote operated vehicles that we've been using. We're also working very closely with Michigan Tech in developing an autonomous underwater vehicle which is able to traverse the pipelines and get good quality data on spans and things like that, and anchors and supports along the pipeline. And then finally, we do aerial patrols of the pipeline. I mentioned already on at least 26 times per year, and then more in areas if warranted. And any of our field representatives, our field people, if there's a cause for needing to shut down and bring out aerial patrol to fly a line segment, they're authorized to be able to do that. And then finally, we're also able to get out with foot patrols. So what does that do in looking at the pipelines? What benefit is there to residents of Michigan? We have this pipeline crossing Northern Michigan, but what are the benefits? And I wanted to just talk real briefly about some of those benefits. In 2013, we paid approximately $21 million to the state in the form of state property tax, use and income taxes. We employ approximately 250 employees and contractors in the state at 24 locations with an average annual salary of $82,000 per year. As far as the commodities transported in the pipeline, it is our light line that's coming across northern Michigan. We do transport NGL, which is used for propane. It's pulled off, and the propane is extracted from the NGLs to provide propane for Wisconsin and Michigan. And then finally, our pipelines do act as a conduit for the growing Michigan oil production and some of the development that's happening, and being able to put the oil onto our system and move it out of the state. And just a couple of quick points before I wrap up, and that's just around our emergency responder education. We starting with the fire departments and broadening out, we've developed an emergency responder education program. It's an online training program. It's free for pipeline emergency responders, and it's one that we greatly encourage first responders to go through, and it really helps to establish what are the basics of gas and liquid pipeline operations, what are response tactics, and as an incentive, we provide each organization with a $250 grant on an annual basis if they have employees that go in and do this training. And we've made this available to about 8,800 first responders in the U.S. and Canada, with about 1,200 have completed the training. And that's all part of our community investment program, which for first responders, in a lot of cases, there maybe isn't funding for some of the emergency response equipment, or some of it may be pipeline specific, which is only used in response to some of our facilities. So we've provided a grant program which provides grants of $750 to $1,500 per year, and in 2013 that represented about $70,000 to the state of Michigan through applications to that grant. So in conclusion, I just really wanted to mention that We've been operating Line 5 across Northern Michigan safely for more than 60 years. And we are more committed today than ever to the safety and operational reliability of that system and providing that vital link to the state of Michigan and beyond. And I do sincerely want to thank, again, Jennifer, Renetta, and the tip of the Mitt for pulling this together tonight and giving us the opportunity to be here. So thank you.